Welcome to episode 56 of our board game podcast, A Master's Degree in Rolling Terribly. I'm your host, Eddie, currently playing amDirt and loving it. And joining me this week, a man, my peer. I guess you could call him my mana peer. Gaz! Say hi, Gaz.
Hi, Gaz. That was the best attempt at humor so far. I say attempt.
Oh, what? What do you mean,
Attempt.
like this year or ever?
Oh, well, I mean, in recent history.
Or what? I reckon out of 56 episodes, I've had a few more zingers that were funnier than that one.
You have. You've had ones that are better. I said that was your best attempt.
Oh.
You know, like when you try.
Oh. I don't like that. That doesn't sound
That
optimistic or
changed in
helpful
your head,
at all.
didn't it?
Yeah. That's really mean. You can't actually reverse shade the intro, the shade intro. You did.
Reverse
You
anything.
back
I stuck with my same story. You just didn't misinterpret it.
Oh, you've never done that before. Now, like, it threw me off. It's made me self-conscious and made me go, wow, that was really mean.
It was really funny. It was a good job. I like it.
No,
I like play on words.
Okay.
No, I'm not lying. I'm always telling the truth.
So we are pushing through. We don't have long to go in, I don't know, something. And we've had, I think you've been applying Dwarf Slater's Fix to your PQ, so we're pushing along that quite nicely, and we're not long now, right? It kind of unmesses the campaign a little bit because we're going to get those buildings out of you, and we're gonna be able to progress through Phil's PQ and all of that. So things are getting exciting again, which is really, really, really cool.
Yeah, we get into that threshold because we're like kind of locked at just below 7 prosperity, and we have all of our buildings are locked at 7 prosperity.
Yeah.
So we need a character, we need a retirement to get us over the edge.
Do we have the materials, by the way, for the buildings that we need to build?
Look, we've got heaps, but I think we're underestimating how much everything costs to upgrade. So what we're going to do is double build as soon as we do this, and then we pour again.
Yeah, okay.
It's kind of like paycheck to paycheck. You know how, like, I mean, you get paid and you're like, oh, I'm so poor. And then you get paid and you're like, oh, I've got so much money. And then you go and buy all this stuff and you're like, oh, I'm poor again.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess I got 2 new cool toys.
Well, thank you, Treasury Gaz, for the financial Frosthaven update. On that,
though, I feel like I'm the one that like bullies people into spending all of their money whenever we get back to Frosthaven. So it's like, all right, come on, guys, we need to buy some materials. Who's going to pony up the money? It's always like kind of go around the room and someone will be like, all right, I've got 50 gold.
How do you get away with it every time?
Well, because we have to do it.
Yeah, because you're looking after it and posing the question to us, we automatically assume that you shouldn't have to do it, or like pay for it.
Oh, no. I put in when I can.
Oh, that's right then.
I do. But lately with the stupid banner spear, I have been with my PQ. I haven't had the money to spare because I haven't looted that much. But like with the crab, like I was basically funding Frosthaven for like a month.
Yeah, you were.
Like,
well, you were also looting the most, so yes.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean, right? Like, I feel like that's kind of the balance. And there have been times where people are like, oh, I really need my money. I'm like, okay, well, we'll split this up. Like, if you're saving for something, then that makes sense. But no, but it's kind of funny because it's kind of like passing around the donation kind of tray. It's like, all right, come on, put some money in it. We need it. So
donation tray. On today's episode, we will be covering Scenario 58, Orphan's Core. Super exciting when we come to the end of the Unfettered quest chain. We're also covering Scenario 75, Infiltrating the Lair, which is the second last one to a PQ involving a fishy tribe. And maybe, if we have time, a little surprise. But we'll leave that as a surprise.
A surprise? Like what kind of surprise?
Just a surprise, guys. Maybe you'll even be surprised. So if you remember.
I'll be surprised?
Maybe. So.
Hey, I'm doing pretty well. I'm pretty sure I remember both scenarios.
Do you remember the road event leading to the first one?
I think I do.
Does it have anything to do with what we were literally just talking about?
Oh, hang on. Wait, no, I don't remember the first one. I remember the second one.
Okay. Well, the number of it was scenario... sorry.
I do remember now.
Summer Road Event 20.
Yeah. Yep. Can I talk about it?
Yeah. Because it literally is talking about what you were just talking about.
Vegas, baby.
Having money. And you're just like, I just don't have the money to buy the resources that we need for Frosthaven. And then all of a sudden, slot machine Inox comes along and just goes, "Hey, I've got a slot machine over here. Who wants to have a go?" And you're like, "Sign me up, baby. Let's go."
It was like the only time I've ever been cashed up. And yeah, then I just I'm like, "Hey, did you want to waste all your money here?" I'm like, "I totally would love to." So yeah.
Like it was actually a slot machine. So we actually had to make a deck of loot cards, and we had to make matches. And I think it's like a 6 gold buy-in.
Yeah, I think it was
6 gold buy-in. If you match 2 of the resources, you get $2 back. And then every time you go again, it's another 6 gold. But if you match all 3 up, you get all 3 resources, I think, or something like that. So we ended up getting all 3, hide or something, and you spent something like 18 gold or something. No. So we've got a slot machine thing happening right now.
So that's why maybe you don't put 4 of one in.
Why? What happened?
Well, because there's 2 of each, so we can't get 3 of a kind of the other ones. No. Where if we put,
but you got a better chance of getting 3
we get
kind of
3 of a kind of getting hide. But now if we draw one and don't get any hide, then we can't get 3 of a kind. So then you're done.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you got
so maybe
to even it out, you have to do 3 of each and then a spare.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So what do you want? You want to get rid of?
I'll get rid of a hide and put 1 metal in, because that's the other thing we need.
So our summer road event is a slot machine from an Inox. Apparently, I can't say that, can I?
Inox.
Yeah.
You can't say apparently.
No, I can't say Inox.
Why not?
It's Inox. It's always been Inox.
Oh, yeah. I suppose. Poor teller dude.
Yeah. So Gaz is the only one that's going in on this. He's paid 6 gold. Don't dump all your church money into this.
All right. Oh, that's the one we didn't want. All right. 2 gold.
2 gold.
All right. So I'm 4 down.
4 down.
All right. Cool.
So you're going again. You're going to go again.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you're out.
Yeah. It's all right. We're good. We just got to loot heaps on this one.
Double down, right?
All right.
No, you're 8 down.
Yeah, 8 down. Okay.
No.
Alright. Alright. 12 down.
12 down. Yeah.
It's alright. We're steadily, we're not losing heaps of money. We could be more down. That's the thing, right?
That's what Cam was saying.
Yeah, hey, the next big win is just around the corner.
That's true. That's true.
Shouldn't Daddy be doing this?
Why? Huh?
Why? No, I'm watching. It's his money. I'm watching him blow his money. Oh! Hey!
Alright, so what was I, 12 down? So another 6.
So 18.
Do I get 2 gold and the 3?
No, it says instead, I think.
No, that's shit.
So 18 gold for 3 hide.
Yeah.
6 gold per hide.
Yeah, instead.
Yeah, alright, well let's stop there.
Good job.
So
I was gonna say if we could gamble right now without morale, would you keep going?
Oh, forever. Like, let's go.
Because no, you probably get morale though, because it's.
Yeah, after gaining back the 2, basically every time I got 2 of a kind, so I got 2 gold back, which means the whole thing costs you 4, right? And then on the last one, I got 3. Oh, because I was into that gambler's fallacy. I was like, oh, well, I'm too far deep now to quit.
Yeah,
I'll be losing money if I stop now, right?
Correct.
The next big win's just around the corner.
Correct.
So
And you were the only one that did this, by the way.
correct, because everyone was like, no, and I was like, hell yes.
I had 0 money.
Bill had like 50.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm surprised he didn't go in, but yeah, it was kind of one of those things once it got to the point of being around. I think it was at the 12 or 14 point. I was like, oh, I'll do one more. And then I won. I'm like, I'm glad I won now because I was kind of have to stop anyway.
Mm.
And at least this way I paid 18 gold for 3 hide, which is the worst
Conversion.
return on investment. So it's so bad.
I like the way that the writers, designers, whatever, they've created some of these events similar to the one that you're digging. Create a loot deck. Like these like downtime ones that become fun little activities that aren't a choice between A or B. Like it gets everyone involved in something. I like the fact that they've experimented with some of these, and it's actually really cool.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because one of the things that we have complained, the community complains about, et cetera, it's like extra bloat into the game that's not playing the game. right? Like Frosthaven and the scenarios you play is 80-90% of the game, and it's the most fun part. And it's kind of one of the continued complaints about the outpost phases. It's doing a bunch of stuff that's not playing the game.
Yeah.
But you're right. In the right intervals and at the right time, these kind of little events can be a lot of fun.
Yeah, they mix it up.
Same with like the riddle ones and the maze one, stuff like that, right? Like there's these different ones that kind of change. They're just again not pick a berry color.
I was literally going to say Berry Haven, right? It's just not Berry Haven.
Mm.
All right, so that was a good word event. We then head out to scenario 58. Now, if you remember last time we had a finale, I went down through memory lane for the whole Algox quest line. All right? I haven't done that this time. I have done something a little bit different. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Last year, 4 travelers saved a silly little town called Frosthaven. This time, they will save the world from an army of machines.
Strange metal constructs marching through the wastes.
We must see these mechanical monsters with our own eyes.
But trouble immediately found them.
One solitary polar bear.
They stumbled upon a giant spire
Wow, that's a huge spire.
and rode an elevator down to the rusted unknown depths.
Guys, you're all about to fall off that elevator and take trap damage.
Greetings, Piper Perry. We've been expecting you.
Oh, that's a lot of ruined machines. Oh, where are you putting that? Don't touch that. Ah!
They rescued allies,
Crane Talongear at your service.
where they learned more about the industrial threat.
That's what they've named themselves, you see. The machines, that is. Unfettered.
And set off to end it all.
Crane, how long will it take you to scavenge through all the...
They came across an overrun barricade where the Unfettered was planning to stand against them.
They cannot stand against us!
Oh, never mind. Crane's token powers are OP. After months of traveling, dozens of outpost attacks from the machines, some slight distractions,
Ooh, we haven't disemboweled ourselves today. Oh, can we start my PQ now? It doesn't take too long. So long, mighty meteor man. God, how are we ever gonna face all those bosses? All hope is lost.
Do you guys have room for a blink blade?
How many years have passed since we rid ourselves of your chains? No, no. We must bow or be destroyed. We will not be cast aside again so easily.
We have to destroy the Unfettered.
this summer, 4 unlikely adventurers
Do you guys think this Gemini is a bit of a dick?
became 4 different unlikely adventurers,
Someone tell the crab to stop hoarding all the items? What a dick.
which led to another 3 unlikely adventurers
Banner Spear, heal us, you dick.
and a blink blade
Do you guys think this Blink Blade dude is kind of broken?
face their biggest threat yet. Scenario 58, Orphan's Core, in cinemas now.
So, did you hear any of the music in that?
Shut up and take my money. That sounds great. I love it. Like, I'd love to watch that movie. Let's do it. Let's watch that. We should do like a group watching.
Yeah,
One of
of
those
course. No, it was I was just like, I don't know if I can remember half the story, so I'm just gonna throw together a movie trailer for where we're up to. And I was like, hey,
That's it.
it was
You're setting the bar really high, though. Like, I
Oh.
expect this all the time.
I don't know about that. So, Orphan's Core scenario 58. The scenario is complete when the orphan is dead. At the end of that round, we read a thing. Scenario effects, none. Special rules, door 1 is locked. There's a door at the end. There's a glowing orb in the center of the room. It is 48 HP for our group. The orphan is immune to all damage and force movement and cannot move in any way at this time. It also has 60 HP. Oh God, is that all? Phil.
Yeah. Like when we started and there was an orb with 48 HP, I was like, we killed a boss that had 170 in 3 rounds. Like, I don't know if this is really going to be an issue.
Yeah, and having Phil, and then I don't know, I do a bit of damage, so yeah, having the two of us there, it's like I feel like a damage ad for Phil, unlike the buff that procs off him. We had boss special number 1 for the Orphan. The Orphan performs a heal targeting the glowing orb, so every time he pulls that, he heals the orb. Boss special number 2, the Orphan performs a move, which it doesn't because it doesn't move in the first phase anyway, and does an attack range 6 with Brittle. Okay, that's the first room in a nutshell, kind of. Challenge card, we had Optimism. These challenge cards also were just kind of very interesting that we got all these in this one and also the next scenario. We had Optimism. Whenever you reveal a negative or null attack from the monster AMD, treat it as a +0 instead, which is pretty gross. They can't miss. Will that affect curses? That's a miss, right? That's a null.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
okay.
It counts as a null. Yeah.
And increasing aggression. Whenever a -1 or -2 attack modifier card is drawn from the monster AMD, after the attack, remove the card from the deck for the remainder of the scenario. And we chose to put those together. So
that's it.
There was a third. I can't remember what it was.
I think that we went backwards and forwards. And I can't remember. Do you remember what the third one was?
Was it the armor one or was that the later on one?
I think it might have been later.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I think we got one where we're like, okay, we either choose that one, which we can't remember what it was, or we choose the other two. Because we're 100% going to do the other two together. Because basically they overrode each other a little bit.
Yeah.
Which was good. So it's kind of like stacking negatives and not doubling. So, yeah. But it was interesting because I'm like, we're going to take heaps more damage. Like, and it was feels bad when we kept pulling things on disadvantage. I'm like, oh, there's a red one. There's a red one. Oh, that's not really red. Like,
nope. Pets for the evening was What Dog, the Black Imp, and What, the Lightning Eel. I feel like these two are buddies because they keep coming out together. Yeah. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, like the W Bros or something like that.
Yeah. Monster combinations with Flaming Blade Spinner, Ruined Machines, and Steel Automatons. And you say...
Wolves.
That's right. I explained the first setup. We did have 2 Flaming Blade Splitters next to our spawning location. We had the 2 automatons at the back with the Orphan, and then we had the Orb bang in the middle. Initial thoughts on Scenario 58, Gaz?
Yeah, it looks really cool. It looks like it was a phase thing, having the boss standing there attacking us and being invulnerable.
Oh, so good.
Like, it is cool because it was there doing things. It got to be there for longer. So yeah, it seemed fun, and it's really interesting because there was only 4 monsters excluding the boss in the room, but they were the blade spinners can be quite dangerous. We didn't really care about the other dudes, the big wolf things. So it was kind of like focus on them. But yeah, it was an interesting first room.
Well, it wasn't like, kill the boss. It was kind of like, well, we can't kill the boss. We know we have to kill the orb, but killing the orb leads to a section event that we don't know what it does.
Yeah.
Therefore, clear the room and probably deal with the Flaming Blade Splitters initially, who were on either side of us. And it was for one of those perfect,
they drew their Beyblade. Yeah. Like and I think turn 1, they drew their Beyblades and went like, hey, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it felt really cool because it felt like the phase 1 of a big boss fight. Again, we've talked about boss fights, but if we think about your games like WoW or whatever, those first phases usually aren't like super hectic. They're like things are going on, but you're just working towards getting to the meat. And that's kind of what this felt like. It's like, I'm just going to stand here and shoot you. You guys figure this out.
Yeah. And the other thing was the door. The door threw us off as well, because if it didn't have the door, you could set up in the room. I could put hazards everywhere. Mark could put his ice everywhere. We know that we're going to be in here, but the door was there, but we didn't know what it meant because the boss was already here. And the most logical thing was the boss was going to like teleport to another room or something, and then we'd have to walk through. So it did keep us on our toes. But initially, yeah, I loved the sound of this because it sounded phasey.
Yeah.
Something we learned at the very start of this scenario was that Phil actually has a perk on his Blink Blade, and he actually had this about a month ago. Blink Blades, you may know about this one. It is something about when you choose your starting location, you can actually start 3 hexes away from one of the spawn points. And he failed to tell us this and also failed to do it, which would have made the last scenario better when we were trying to work out how to get the bombs triggered, as well as, who knows, any other one, right? And he reminded us this time, which was like, oh, okay, thank you. That's really cool. And he's like, I can go start near the orb. And I was like, yeah, but the boss is going to hit you and brittle you. He's like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. So I was like, okay, cool. So this is the one scenario you don't want to use your perk at the start. That's pretty fun. Something else.
But he did use it.
Did he? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine.
I think you
probably
didn't
went
give him that
invisible.
warning. I think he went invisible.
Yeah, that
actually.
makes
You're
sense.
Right. Yeah.
Did you know, Gaz, steel automatons can move 4?
Oh, no, I did not know that because in the setup they're behind difficult terrain, so they're kind of set up where they're next to the boss, and they're kind of blocked essentially. And we're like, they're only going to pull like a move 1 or 2 because that's what they do. So they're probably going to take 2 or 3 turns
Or stand still.
or stand still, right? No, it turns out when they need to move, they move.
Yeah. They moved straight to that orb right next to Phil. It was like, oh, okay, we were going to deal with the flaming blade spinners. Boss is going to be immune. We can't deal with him. Automatons are going to slowly make their way over. By the time the blade spinners is dead, we can deal with them. And they were just like, hold my beer. They came all the way across and it was like, oh, okay, crap, what do we do? This is awkward.
Which is actually interesting because thinking about it now, when we talk about the next phase and how we went through that, them not being there was actually really useful.
That's true.
Like the fact that they moved straight up and then didn't really do much because then they stood still or didn't move very much. We were able to kind of move around them, but they were out of the way. So
some of the other notes that I can think of that happened in here, Gaz went and disarmed one at the very beginning of the Beyblades, which was really handy because then they both went crossing over. This led to the other one crossing over. It came over and smashed me, my very small hit point meteor, and also Mark, setting us up with a nice juicy wound, which was really cool. I built up a quenched rage to then use on the orb, or I didn't really need the orb, but to use it on something, and using melted armor. I actually used a melted armor to kill one of the automatons actually with the PS3, which was really, really cool. I actually smashed one of those. So we kind of ended up with the room with maybe 1 blade spinner left and 1 automaton before Phil decided to go Super Saiyan on the orb. And blow that one up. Was there anything I'm missing that you wanted to mention?
no, I think that's about right.
Yeah. So
Except that we got to the point of the orb where Phil only really attacked it once. Like he only had 1 turn. It's just killed it in 1 turn.
it had 48 health.
Yeah, I think maybe we might have chipped away at it. Maybe he chipped away at it
Okay.
slightly, but he did most of the health in one go.
I think you did a
And,
formation into it as well.
Yeah,
but
I might have hit it.
not for 28 or something.
No. It was definitely not a majority of its health, but yeah.
So the shield gets the orb gets blown up, and then we move into a phase 2, and the shield becomes disabled, and the orphan is really, really upset about this. And for some reason, its like face mask kind of slides off and it hangs a little bit, and it's talking in its stuttery kind of robotic voice. And then it kind of opens door number 1, which leads to another corridor, and starts booking it down towards the corridor, this new hallway that's opened up. And we get introduced with some new rules. So we were kind of expecting this, and the orphan can now be damaged, which was like, great, we can actually now hit this thing. It received an initial hit of damage, putting it, so it's got 60 health, I think it went down to 42 or something like that. And it moves us towards an A token, so an A spot, which is at the end of the corridor that we've just unveiled. The orphan essentially now concentrates on healing itself, because the orb no longer exists through its special 1, and also at the end of each of its turns, it will actually suck the life out of all monsters within range 2, healing it for a certain amount, whilst also damaging those monsters. If the orphan ever gets to full HP, the scenario is lost. All right? And this was amazing. This immediately put a clock on it. You've got 8, I think it was 8, ruined machines in the other room about to come out. Like, they're not the scariest things in the world. They've given us a little bit of grief lately, but they're in the way. And then we have to chase this thing who's going to keep, if we don't finish him off in the round, he's going to keep healing himself at the same time. He's going to be brittling us. And then you've got all those ruined machines just going crazy. It was really a job for Phil to go in there potentially if it came down to it, and go invisible and try and stay alive whilst bursting.
Yeah, and to kind of recap quickly on his special, the boss's special, one of them is to heal for 12, I think it was. Something like that.
I think it worked out.
And the other one is to move 3 with jump. So there's no shenanigans about blocking him or anything like that. Like, he's going.
Yeah.
The only way I think that you could slow him down with speed humps is obstacles and people being 3 away to make him move 2, right? But that's so much setting up, especially when you got 8 ruined machines breathing down your neck trying to get you as well.
That's right.
So it was very much like, okay, we just need to just go hard at this guy.
So when this is all happening, I'm gonna just recap a little bit about Mark because I don't want him to feel left out. He's doing stuff in the back with the blade spinner, and that was cool. Good work, Mark. And I actually was considering coming to help him with my quenched rage. I actually had the token on the very last bit, and before Phil had popped the orb, I was actually going to head back and blow up one of the flame spinners that he was fighting, but we saw the boss. It's now hittable, and you know what it's time to do. It's burst time. So Phil goes straight into the boss area and pops all his cooldowns. Although I'm pretty sure he popped his lucky dice and his thingy on the orb.
His power potion, yeah.
Yeah, so we had a half Phil burst turn kind of thing, which is still ridiculously strong.
Oh, it's still massive amounts of damage. It's like, oh no, all my stuff is down and I've used my good cards. I guess I'll just attack for 30.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. Jesus. Sucks to be you.
He pretty much did. So he popped it in there and he did a whole bunch of damage. Then Gaz comes over. He throws a ranged attack, slips on Mark's ice, and makes his way right behind the orphan to get ready for future attacks. Am I right with that?
Yep.
You also positioned it in such a way that I'm calling that formation the Mitsubishi slice. Because it's me, you, and Phil were in a diamond around the orphan. One of your formations.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, cool. And then I run over. And unfortunately, I didn't have all my items up because I kind of turned them. They're sideways items. I hadn't long rested yet.
Big Dig Daddy.
All right, so I'm gonna use
What are we
move
doing?
6. 1, 2, 3. Guess I will go there.
Can you go there?
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Oh, you've got an attack that does that, don't you?
Yeah.
I take 1 damage. And then we'll use under pressure. So this is an attack 5. And then we will use our Ember Energy Source for an attack 6 with advantage. And we're doubling whatever it is.
Oh. No, that's not purple.
That
He did it! He's done it!
So it's 12.
80
24.
damage! 80 damage!
24.
24.
What awful.
The crowd goes wild. Yeah, fuck you. Dead. Over there. Over there. Dead.
And I popped the boss for a casual 24. Thanks to a bless from Gaz, actually. Or it could have been the temple, but we'll say it's Gaz. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have receipts for these things. I don't know who gave me what.
When divine intervention comes down, you can't tell whether it was me or the god. Yeah. That's fair.
And she went down.
The orphan was dead.
And I was actually fairly certain we were going to burst down continuously because we still had What Dog to use and all 3 of us were next to it. Right?
Yeah.
So it actually died in the door.
Yeah. Well, because its first turn that it got, so was to, because the ordering of the turns was it had to go, I think its special 2 was quite early in the round. So it had its go, then Phil killed the orb. So it wasn't getting another go until the next round. So which is kind of lucky. It didn't pick a move and go after Phil because it would have jumped straight away. But then for the first time in the scenario, it drew its heal, which meant it wasn't moving. So it was going later, which that's what the heal did. But we all got our turns first. So we kind of looked at that going okay, it's gonna. Oh no, that's right. Yeah, so it was going to heal off some of the ruined machines and heal itself. So it was going to chunk up a decent amount, but it wasn't going anywhere. So we were guaranteed to kind of get another round at it before it moved away. So we kind of I reckon in 2 rounds we can probably burst this down. Then Diddy's like, "I'll hold my beer. Let's do it in 1." So, okay, guys, I know this Blink Blade's supposed to be a pretty big deal, but have you seen this media?
Yeah, look,
Check this
to
out.
be fair, the token happened to be on Quenched Rage as all this was happening at the very end, guaranteeing the double. And you also strengthened me.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
I had
that's true. I
lessons
did
in there.
strengthen you.
So it was
Yeah,
like, it was a
So
perfect storm.
Ruined Machine orphans hate this one trick.
Yes, pretty
Yeah.
much.
So
So yeah, we killed it.
it was. Look, I'm so torn with how I feel about this scenario.
Oh, I'm not.
Okay. Well, you can go first then.
Okay. Let me just scroll down a little bit. Okay.
Well,
so,
I'll
okay, go for it. Go for it.
Okay. I think this is great and it's really well designed.
Mm.
Okay, and it's heaps of fun, and I think it was thematic, and I love the second phase of it. We just got through it too quickly.
Mm-hmm. Is
That's
that a group problem?
I think so, yeah. And I don't, and again, not a problem at all. Like, we played really well. Like, we solved the puzzle and we did it great.
Yeah.
So it's another one of those, but like, this felt like, we got through this with probably the ease we've gotten through some of the other boss scenarios that we've complained have been too meh. But I don't think this falls into the same category because I think the design of this one was amazing.
Yeah.
Like this felt really cool. And so I just want to, that's what I mean. I'm torn in that our outcome was basically the same as the last 5 boss scenarios we've done. But the design, and I can see many a group, and I'm not just talking about other groups, but other group compositions having more trouble with this.
Definitely.
And it going down to the wire.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine him being 3 spaces away from the A token and then drawing? It's all on that, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, is he going to draw a move or is he not? What's he going to? Yeah. So,
I mean, once he gets the A token, it's not game over, but it's like trying to keep him from healing up.
Isn't it? I thought we lose if he gets the A token.
No, I think it's just that's his focus for moving there. If his health ever goes up to the top, so it still becomes really hard if we miss that window. All of a sudden, it gets much harder because obviously, like you said, he heals up from all that, but then we have to deal with all those ruined machines. And I suspect there are groups that are going to go through it that way, the same way we would if we were on maybe our second lineup, because he can't be force moved. So if Mark wasn't quite up to doing the traps yet, like the big throwing ones yet, and he was still on his earlier ones, and you got the meteor and all that, we're not burning him down as fast.
Yeah, it's a good point actually, and maybe just as a really quick kind of cycle through, if we think about the main kind of group compositions we've had, I feel like what we've currently got, where we've got the Blink Blade and the Meteor as well, pumps a fair amount of damage. We go back a kind of group composition where we had the Trap. I also feel like we've probably got a big damage dealer there, plus the Meteor I think we also had at that stage. So you'd probably have to go all the way back to our first group, where we had like the Bone Shaper, the Geminate, the Drifter, and what was the Deathwalker. Before you have a group that doesn't have just a single round, single target just explode. So yeah, again, I think everyone's going to play this one different, but I think it's really well designed.
So yeah, I think it was a really, really, really cool fight. It wasn't overwhelming. It was a good usage of the orb thing. I like having the orb there with a bunch of health that had the soak up before we kill it. While the boss was actually in the room, which was really cool. So it's different because you got those scenarios where we had to travel through a whole dungeon before we get to it, a la Fish King, a la Scenario 21 Frost Prince. And then you got this one here where the boss is there, but it's not let's just kill it before anything cool happens. That was really cool. And it caused a lot of communication and coming up with a game plan. And then, it wasn't just a straight up DPS race, at least not initially. But yeah, I can imagine it being actually, while I was actually looking it up, let's see. I looked it up.
What's the community?
Well, there was only one major thread about it, and they put an ordering of what actually happened in their group, and did they just get really unlucky? And it was like the Blink Blade ends their turn by killing the orb, right?
Yep.
Then the scenario triggers, putting the orphan in the door and revealing the corridor behind him and the 8 ruined machines. The ruined machines are dropped in earlier in initiative than the next players that act. They're moving forward, putting 4 of them within range of the orphan, and And then the Orphan acts next, healing himself for 12 and healing off the machines for 12, ending the scenario immediately with no opportunity for them to act.
I think we were almost in that situation, but they weren't close enough because we calculated it. Although we must have been going before the healing triggered,
They
but
pulled
we
a
counted.
move 1 as well, I think, for us.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If they'd pulled a move 2 or 3, which I know they have, then we were going to be the same thing because I think the healing he was going to do was going to put him about 2 or 4 away from like ending the scenario. So yeah, there are obviously, I don't know how common it would be. I don't know, but there is a world where you could just get super unlucky.
So we won the scenario. It was fantastic. We had a good time. And while in full shutdown mode, the Orphan says a bunch of things. And the mood turns kind of somber. They state, "We die, but we do not yield." And it's around about now that we look around the room and think, wow, we feel really bad right now. And then we seal the Unfettered in their new tomb. Because we are dicks.
And so to answer the question, yes, Gunslinger, we all feel like monsters.
Yes.
All right. So
yeah, monster people.
I mean, you think you're going up against Skynet, but then it turns out that you're actually like killing like Wally or something like that, right? Like it's
yeah, Phil's just in the corner punching Wally in the face over and over again, watching him just break down.
Yeah. So
rewards. We gain 1 morale. We gain 3 collective of the 3 main resources, which is really good because I actually look forward to getting resources now. Just feel like we never have enough. We gain the Unfettered deactivated sticker, right? Which means we get to remove all the Unfettered events from the Outpost event deck. Which, again, is awesome because the Unfettered have been causing us a lot of grief lately in our Outpost phases.
I mean, who's going to attack us now?
The Lurkers.
Is it?
Yeah, that's all that's left.
Yeah, okay. We haven't had a Lurker one in so long, and we don't have the Algox ones. I just assumed that the Unfettered were the only people that cared anymore. But yeah, right, it's going to be all...
This is going to be a weird question, and maybe like Dwarf or something will know, or people who have finished the game and gone through every event ever. Are there attacks in there that aren't related to any of the factions?
Yeah, I think so, because we've had like the murder one. Oh, you mean like just actual attacks? Like,
the murder one was an attack, wasn't it? I think it was. Yeah. So I guess there are ones that aren't, which is good because it just means that all of a sudden it's not, well, this Outpost phase is going to be forever boring or exciting, give or take whether or not you like Outpost attacks because it's controversial, but I mean, right?
We're pretty close to finishing the Lurker chain. I mean, I assume something else comes along, right? Like, because it kind of feels, and again, I assume this is going to change because the game will be planned and organized. When we finish the Lurker chain, we're done with the 3 main quest lines. All we've got is side scenarios. So I assume there has to be another big
and all
job postings. Yeah. So there's got to be another big bad that comes along and starts invading us, right?
Yeah, probably.
Because otherwise it's just like, yay, Frosthaven saved. Good job. Now just play for another 1.5 years.
Yeah. I think that's what a lot of people are doing. They're just cleaning up.
Okay. Yeah.
Quest chain complete. Unfettered is done. That is 2 out of 3. Super exciting.
We got something.
Oh, what?
We got the plus 50 Unfettered modifier card in our deck.
That's right.
Even though we killed them all and shut them in their tomb, we took enough corpses to build a giant robot wall around Frosthaven to give us some defenses. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, and they could come in handy when we get attacked by the Lurkers. So yes, good point. Thank you. I didn't want to forget anything. So, Ormi. How does Ormi go in Scenario 58? Is he good at boss this one?
Maybe. I mean, we start really close to 2 blade spingers that like to wound people and do lots of damage early. And they also have Retaliate 3. So I kind of feel like Ormi just walks up and kills himself in round 1.
Yeah, unless you can burst down the blade spinners. If you can clear the blade spinners, I think he's fine. I actually think he's all right.
100%. Yeah. If you get lucky, you can burn them down or you can get him out of the way, then yeah. And I mean, look, probably if that was the case, what I might have done was then like use movement to move him towards the orb, so we can just start wailing on the orb. But then the problem is he's going to be in range of the boss, who's
Yeah.
going to get hit for 6. So it's like do that, but then also make sure that I'm closer.
Yeah.
It would have become this like protect or me.
Is there a ability item character that can grant invisibility?
I don't know. I think there's a ring. I think that Mark had at one stage. It was like eat 2 elements to give yourself invisibility.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a thing. I don't think there's just like a invisibility cloak like there was in Gloomhaven.
Yeah, granting that'll be cool because that'd be great.
Well, it's weird, right? Because it was pretty. It's like one of the first items you have access to in Gloomhaven, and it's a pretty big staple of a lot of builds, like the Spellweaver and
because it's
Scoundrel,
busted.
even or the Tinkerer. Well, yeah, but it's kind of isn't like it's a really good defensive item when you've got 6 HP and you just don't want to get hit by anything. But it's not in Gloomhaven, sorry, Frosthaven, and I wonder if that's because invisibility is really powerful.
I dare say it is.
And there's probably a lot of like combining that with a lot of the classes just would be ridiculous. Like have true turns where nothing can do anything to you.
No, so, I think busted city. Battle goals for this, we had Miser. Miser was on Mark, and it was a 2-ticker. Never exit a room with a loot token on it.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic work, Mark. You achieved that. You tried very hard. You got it. We're very proud. Dawdler. Oh, okay. This was me. This was a very important decision for me. So never use your lowest initiative played card as your initiative card. And I was doing it the whole way through, except for the end when we had a window to kill the boss, and I was playing something. It was like an 85, and it was an 80 and an 85, and and then I had to change it around to a 20, but I had to play the 85 over the 20. And then I was like, I gotta put the 20 first, but that's gonna book my battle goal, but it means I can walk in there and potentially kill the boss. And I had this real tug of war in my head, and I was like, no, I need to do this. So I failed.
And you know what? If you hadn't, the boss would have healed. So you wouldn't have killed him. And it goes an extra round.
Yeah.
So you can at least take kind of a bit of solace in knowing that you booking your battle goal actually meant that we won the scenario. It wasn't just I'll do this and it'll contribute to the end. Like that won the scenario for us.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'll take it. We had Weakling become exhausted before any other character. Who had this?
Phil?
Did you have Wastrel?
Hey. Is that the discard a card to 2 damage?
Lose a card to negate 2 damage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did you get that?
Nah.
Because nothing hit you for
I
2.
don't think I got hit for 2.
That's fair. And Phil must have had a Weakling become exhausted before any other character, which he didn't because he exhausted the boss before
any other character.
Damage done. So I had done 49 damage. I'm pretty sure I hit 4 times, which is pretty fun on the meteor. I took 5 damage and I healed for 1. I don't know how, but I healed for 1 somehow.
How'd you heal for 1?
I don't know, but that's what it says.
That's what it says.
Yep.
Okay.
Bit confused. Maybe I had a regen on me. I don't know. Guys, you did 27. You took 16, and you healed for 4. That healing banner has retired, hasn't it?
I didn't bring it. Yeah, it's done. DPS all the way now.
That's right. Phil did 70. He took 13, and he healed for 7. And Mark on his fist did 11. He took 20, and he healed for 15. That is scenario 58 wrapped up. We had our outpost phase. We had a section event. We had a media return.
So we were talking about this I think it must be the media unboxing we did where we reviewed it. And I think you asked the question.
Yeah.
Hey, do you read out, like, is the storyline the same? And I think we even talked about this last week because we had another Savas come back, but that was a different Savas, the one we'd rescued. And we were like, oh, well, if the media rocks back up and it's like, hey guys, I've finished my adventure of like quest of things, there's going to be this weird Spider-Man meme situation where we've got a media and this is the media. But like, oh, we must be past that because we would have remembered it.
Yeah.
Turns out we weren't.
No. No, the media came back. He was super emo. He went to join the Savasses and he said that they were really boring, right? And he was like, "Oh, this
He
is
said the same thing about us.
yeah, that's true." So he came back, and he even says, and I quote, "I'm not coming back to fight for you if that's what you're thinking." That's what he says, and I'm sitting there like, "What am I like, chop liver?"
We're kind of full. We're full on onto the vast media. Sorry.
That's right. But then he wants to go master a new element, so he steals a canoe and he floats off into the sunset, giving us 3 inspiration. Which is an interesting reward, but I mean, it's something.
Get anything else? Was it just 3 inspiration?
Just 3 inspiration and
Was
a
there
and a laugh.
Was there an event that went into the deck?
No.
No, so it was just 3 inspiration.
Yep.
Wow. Like, I mean, the Drifter giving us a shovel.
The Drifter has given us the best thing so far.
100%. Yeah, the best retirement.
The Bone Shape has given us a scenario. So we have yet to see whether or not it was any good or not. Yeah, it's a necromancy one.
That's right,
yeah. So it's hard to say whether that was actually better, but so far flavor-wise, I like this the most, just because I think it's the funniest, followed by the Drifter, because the Drifter just sounds like a dopey prick.
Yep.
But yeah, the fact that he just comes back, doesn't want to join us, tells us he doesn't want to join us, and then goes, wait a second, I'm going to go master the ice and water, jumps into a boat that doesn't belong to him, and then leaves.
It was very good. It was a very good return.
We had a Summer Outpost event. This is Summer Outpost event 14. I don't know if you actually remember this one, because this one was probably a little bit more generic. But I think it was a group of mercenaries getting some supplies and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then, I don't know, at the end we can decide whether or not we want to invest money with them and supplies, and then they will come back. And
yeah, there's a group of mercenaries going on an adventure, and they're like, "Oh, but we haven't really got enough supplies. Can someone fund us?" And there's someone either in the crowd or someone around going like, "You guys are just gonna die." And then we were like, "Hey, yeah, we like wasting money," so we gave them some money and a herb. I think 10 gold and a herb or something like that. And it's like, guys, if that's like the difference between you going out on your adventure or not, I think you're in trouble.
Yeah, but we'll wait and see, because like we got some new events out of it, so we'll see whether or not they make a return. That's another thing for us to look out for, which is really cool. So we are done for that session.
Hang on, we have so many events that I'm waiting to come back, right? Like, just off the top of my head, when you mentioned that, we've got Ormy, who's got to come back at some point. We've got the letters that we wrote to the famous people.
Yes.
We've got these mercenaries, and there's another one that I thought of the other day, but I can't. But like, and I'm sure there's more.
There's probably definitely more. Some of the ones have come back have been really cool. Like anything that's sticker related, and the Savas that came back last week, which is really cool.
The sword one was cool as well.
Yes. Yeah. So that means that we're starting to get some of these back. So the next one will be Ormy. It'd be so bloody funny if it mysteriously goes to the top of that deck. No. So we wrap up that one. We then head to our second scenario for the evening, which is scenario 75, infiltrating the lair. This is Phil's PQ. This is the second last scenario from his PQ before it leads to a Force Link finale.
Force Link.
Oh, they don't exist anymore. They've been unpatched out of the game.
Yep.
And we had a boat event. It was boat event 11. What happened in this one?
It was very explosive.
It was very explosive. It was kind of like, there are barrels out there floating in the water. You could either grab one or we could use them as target practice or something like that.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And I think we picked the worst option.
Yeah, because we're idiots.
What do we
honestly, I think we need to somehow trick the universe into picking one, but then rope-a-dope and pick the other one, because the one we pick is inevitably going to give us morale, and therefore we should pick the other one, which is anything but morale.
So if we picked up the barrels, which we didn't do, in my head, we would have been like, whoa, wow, this barrel is so cool. And our morale will go up. And then the other option is we shoot them, and that's fun, and our morale will go up. It doesn't matter what we do, the
Doesn't
morale's
matter what
going
we do.
up. So we decide to shoot them, and the morale.
That's what I mean. It's like you give the people heaps of food, and their morale goes up. You put them on rations, and they go, "You're in charge. You're doing a great job of making sure we get through winter. Our morale's going
We
up."
were
It's like, you
overweight
can't win.
anyway. We needed to lose weight. So thank you so much for giving us
Yeah,
that
correct.
motivation.
It's like a win-win. You can't lose with these people. Everything you do, they're like, "Yay!"
They're just so deluded that they're just happy with anything. They're just happy to see us because we're the only ones actually doing anything.
It's not like SimCity where the people are always perpetually miserable. Build me a stadium. I was like, okay, here's a stadium. Build me a stadium. I was like, you've already got one. Quit it. What am I made of stadiums?
Yes. Yeah, you got all the money.
I don't. In SimCity, I'm always poor because they always want stadiums and airports.
Yeah.
And then when you put
got a
taxes up to
city
pay
of
for that
sad
stuff, they're
people.
like, whoa. We don't want to pay taxes for this shit. It's like, you go speak to the Frosthaven people. They're always happy.
That's true. We should. Hopefully, one of the buildings is a stadium, right?
Oh, or a tax office.
Oh.
Yeah. And it'd be like, raise taxes. You gain 1 morale.
Okay.
Because
Yeah,
they
of
always
course.
love
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
They're like, yeah, take our money so you can build cool shit with our taxes.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, scenario 75. So the story is we're not mates with the Fish King anymore, or we never were actually.
Anymore. We never were.
No.
We met him and we booked him.
Yeah, we one shot him before, so we weren't really afraid of him.
grumpy.
So he was like, can either join me, or I was like, well, we're just gonna one shot you again. So I'm not too sure what you're trying to negotiate here.
Yeah.
We shouldn't really be scared. The scenario goal of scenario 75: the scenario is complete when all enemies in it are dead. Both hallways have been blocked. At the end of that round, we read a thing. Scenario effect: none. Special rules: if any character ends their turn on a water hex in the scenario, they suffer 2 damage. Challenge cards: we had swarming tactics. All enemies add jump to all of their move abilities. And we had upwind. All enemy ranged attacks have +1 range, and you add +1 to all enemy move abilities. And it just made sense to combine these two together and just have one shit show of a scenario, which is what we did.
That's it, because we hate ourselves and we thought, well, how can we make this really annoying? Give them all +1 move and jump, and anything that's ranged is just going to hit us. So,
And the amount of times during the scenario we've had, I put hazards down and whatnot, and Mark's like, yeah, good work, Daddy. They have to go this way. And I'm like, no, they jump. They always jump. They're always jumping.
Yep.
I said, my hazards don't mean nothing.
Thought-wise, we kind of went through and chose these ones because we had minimal ranged creatures in here. It was a lot of, I know you're going to go through monsters in a minute, but it's a lot of the fish monsters, which don't have range other than the scouts. And also, when it comes to movement, the fish, like the piranha pigs, are the most annoying thing out of all of it, and they usually jump anyway. So we're kind of like, ugh, it's not really going to make that much of a difference. Like, it's going to be more annoying, but I think, again, the other one was the armor one, the armor spikes one.
Yeah.
Which is worse for Phil, so therefore we don't choose it.
It's weird because at some stage we're going to have to pick that. We just don't know exactly when that's going to happen. And that's the one that your shield value is a retaliate, right? The shield number is the number of the retaliate that you'll have whenever you have shield, but every attack is now -1. And it's kind of like trying to find the right one for that. I don't even know what that is.
I feel like we're going through this thing where, because Phil attacks a lot on the Blink Blade, right? It's kind of like a -1 attack is really bad for him. But there's not going to be a situation where we go into a scenario and we're going to be like, oh, well, none of us really have any attacks, so this one's great. You know? Outside of if we all somehow roll the shackles, then we're probably going to find it's going to suck regardless.
It's the thought process of, wow, if we pick this challenge, guys, Phil's not going to do 100 damage. He's going to do 85. Right? And it's kind of like, can we do this with him doing 85? Like, instead of the normal 100.
Yeah, that's true.
Our pets for scenario 2 was Stu, the Forest Imp, and Weedy, the Ruin Machine. Another pairing that we seem to be getting a little bit as well, which is pretty cool. Monster combinations, we had a Bale Herders, a Bale Scouts, we had Chaos Demons, Frost Demons, and then we had Lightning Eels and Piranha Pigs. When I saw that list, that is when I was like, kind of same as you, in that maybe the movement and the plus range and all that might be okay, but it's still a gross combination of challenge cards for 6 different mob types. I mean, you can imagine Chaos Demons with plus move and jump is just stupid. And then, of course, Frost Demons are slowish kind of retaliate guys, and they're flying around the room and booking you. So, yeah, pretty gross. What were your initial thoughts on... first room is it's a bendy narrow corridor with lots of water tiles, obstacles, eels, pigs, and at the end there's a herder and a door. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, the starting room was rough. Like there was
Gross.
nowhere to go. I mean, one of the challenges with the banner spear is that you need to wait for everyone else to go, and everyone preps around once they're not going, and there wasn't any space to stand.
No.
So it's like trying to figure out how to do anything in the first turn. I think for me was really tricky, and the other problem is that if I go late, because it was so narrow, everything was just going to bunch up. So it's like it bunches up and then I still can't do anything. So yeah, I mean, initial thoughts, it was, yeah.
Yeah. Gross challenge cards, looking at the mob list, this is actually going to be a challenge. It is refreshing to see a kill all scenario again, which is always really cool. The blocked hallway thing is really confusing, and because we have no reference of what the hell that means, it was kind of weird. The water tiles are really tricky, especially because I still, on my second character now, don't have a jump. And I'm actually running with that. I think that's gonna be my thing. I'm just gonna be a guy that can't jump. Yeah, I think that's my thing. I was like, is this a bad scenario for the crab? Because he likes being in water, but he's gonna be taking 2 damage every time he ends his turn in it. And I was like, maybe that's not that big deal. Because you heal up from it.
Yeah, the thing is as well is that the crab's perk gives you advantage if the target is in water as well.
Yeah.
So you don't need to stand in it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I mean, look, again, this is another scenario that we opened it up, put it down. I was like, oh, this would be amazing for my crab. I would have been like, turn 1, jump in the middle of them and just fucking hit everything, right, for advantage and damage and be like, come on, guys, this way. So, yeah.
So, first room starting off, Phil's perk. He got to start a little bit further away. It was great. It was cool because it frees up the space. This is one of those scenarios where there's only 4 spots. And it just means that sometimes there's people who want to be at the front, and sometimes multiple people want to be at the front, like more than 2. And then we argue, I'm not in range anymore. Now Phil having this perk, it's freed up one of those spaces, and it's great. We don't fight over starting places anymore, and Phil gets to start nice and far ahead, which is everything.
Yep.
So, with everything having jump and plus 1 move, the pigs closed the gap really fast. We didn't even have a chance to prep because the pigs were in our faces before anything even happened. All right? Phil made a plan. He was going to run to the back and start booking the herder. That's great. We love that. Mark, our fisty boy, he set up this amazing brand new card of this massive fat AoE. And he had it planned to perfection. And then a herder, because Phil was invisible at the time, pulled Mark out of position and immobilized him. So he was, and then he had his big fat AoE, which would have been glorious, turned into a very, very shitty, mediocre AoE, to which I'm pretty sure he drawed really badly for it anyway with his attack modified deck. Yeah.
Didn't he miss?
Yeah, I think so. And he cracked the shits.
Yeah. Yeah, which I get 100%, right?
Yes.
Like watching that all line up and then at the last minute get pulled out of the way, immobilized, and then miss with your, fine, I guess I'll just hit 1 target with my big AoE. Oh, I guess I'll just do 0 damage because that 1 card. Yep.
Oh, it felt so bad, but it was just so funny. It was just so funny.
Look, it's in hindsight, you can laugh about it. At the time, we laughed as well, but you felt mean about it. Like...
because it was just a chain of unfortunate events that just kept happening. It just never let up, and that's what made it so funny. There are obstacles galore in here, which I love. I was having a great time. I got to enjoy some Cloud of Ash moments, which is the card I shout all over in my unboxing. It's actually pretty good. Something I learned about the media is that, and I imagine a lot of people who are playing it with Quenched Rage bottom, is they're trying to get the perfect lineup for their 4th double. And due to just how things were lining up and where things were next to an obstacle, I actually used my Cloud of Ash, which is only a 1 attack. The second attack of that 1 attack was my double, but it resulted in pushing them in a direction that I needed them to be in a better position for you, and it was just completely worth it. It also resets the Quenched Rage, which then goes into my discard, that I can get out relatively early again to begin that chain again. Otherwise, you're stuck there, not attacking anything anymore because you're so worried about blowing, your biggest damage. And you're like, is that worth it? Is that worth it? And I think it's trap.
Yeah, it's interesting because we talked about this after the session. I think that is a really big trap you can fall into, right? Like, it's saving all your cooldowns, all your items, all your abilities for that. Like, oh, there's going to be a big room at the end, and then it's just a polar bear, right? Like, yeah, and I think you played it well because you got like value out of Cloud of Ash, and yeah, you lost a little bit of value, but that's the thing. Like over the time, you're right. If you'd spent the next 2 or 3 turns not attacking because you didn't want to pop your like double damage, you lose so much damage there.
Yeah.
Like even if you draw well, excluding a crit, and you do an extra 5 damage because of the double, but you've missed 3 or 4 turns of attacking, well, you probably still
It's
like
true.
at a net loss.
You can wreck your action economy that way.
Yeah,
quite badly.
So, but I mean, like, yeah, it sometimes it's going to be worth not hitting because you don't have that much lined up in the next room, or it's going to be a really empty room or whatever. But you're right. Sometimes you think you did the right thing. It's just kind of like, I'm just going to keep pushing through. I'll check it back up and do some more damage later on.
True. So, snapshot is Mark and Phil end up towards the door. They're getting ready to open it, and they're running around as a pair. Gaz and I are further back towards the start, just dealing with the remaining eel and the pig, and Phil opens the door. So he enters the next door, and we've got 2 doors, a leaky wall, and that's housing a sea token. And there are 4 pillars in the middle of the room. Always happy to see more obstacles. And Phil ends up in a really awesome duel with the Abale Scouts where he gets pinned in a corner and can't get out.
No. He went in there, and then they kept doing range attacks.
Yeah.
And they kept moving away.
Oh, there was one bit, I've got a photo of him in the corner with both of them trapping in the corner. I think then they moved out and started range attacking.
Yeah.
But
I think, they moved up, and then he chose cards that wasn't moving, and then they both went before him, and then they moved back and shot him, and yeah, it was all kinds of funny.
It kept him occupied. It's like when you give a chew toy to a dog, and it's like, he play with this for a while. Like he was occupied by these normal, I believe, scouts that have
and they were doing
4
a bit of
health.
damage because they poisoned.
Yes.
So they were poisoning and they were hitting him, and just all kinds of bad.
Yes. Mark was making his way towards the piranha pig. There was 2 in the room. He was making it towards one and preparing his next null and trying to work on a positioning for his ice terrain. He was still in a pretty foul mood as he entered this room. And then Daddy and Gaz coming up the rear, but we're having a little long rest, and we're getting ready to help. Actually, there was a really cool thing where you can move me during your long rest to help me catch up as I can't jump over all the water, which is, good team.
Yeah, because that's the plan now, right? It's make sure you can't move far. I got a new perk. I think it was the last one I got, which was when I long rest, I grant an ally within range 3, move 3 or something like that, move 2, whatever it is.
It's way better than your ulti.
It is better than my ulti.
Mark blows Stu. Everyone liked that because they've actually got a good 12 health heal in that because everyone was taking a bit of a beating earlier. So thank you, Stu. Thank you, Mark. The pigs got dealt with, and Mark opens the double door. So now we have another door. Phil's still dealing with the scouts, by the way. So we'll come back to Phil a little bit later once he's finished with the scouts. The room has a herder near the far wall with 2 pigs, and there's a Frosthaven and a Bale Scout in there. So with all their fast movement and jump from the enemies, Mark decides to back out of the room because he realizes he's about to take an absolute booking. And we realize this might be a good chance to actually door fight them. Special rules do pop up. When any character ends their turn adjacent to the B spots, which was where the pigs and the herders are, the hallway is considered blocked, which is one of the victory conditions, right? And any enemies occupying those hexes do die. If only we had a character who could blink their way over there and potentially set that off. But, we couldn't.
He was busy fighting 2 scouts.
Still fighting 2 scouts. The never-ending fight. It was really cool, though. We all just went past and was like, just let them, they know what they're doing. They're Mortal Kombating over there. Mark's playing his fist. We'll keep reminding everyone if they're wondering, what is this guy playing that he's like having a bad time? He actually did something really cool where he actually pushed two things and immobilized both of them away from him, which we hadn't actually seen yet. And it mitigated a crap load of damage that he would have received as well. I think it was really, really well done and very, very cool that he got to do that and make us entering that room much easier.
Yeah, because going into that room, again, he busted in there. They've all got heaps of move and they're all jumping. And so he kind of stalled for like a round, kind of waited for you to get in there. And then I came along. And so it worked really well. Like we didn't take massive amounts of damage. Again, it just kind of gave us time to catch up. And so then amongst the three of us, we were able to kill everything.
Yeah. And in this room was actually when we were fighting them all, because it was you, me, and Mark. I decided to blow Weedy. And Weedy actually blocked a crap load of damage. It was actually really good. Weedy, you did really well, buddy. Very, very happy with your performance. We kept taking turns reminding each other how the enemies have jump. It was around this time where because it was really puzzly. With how quickly they were to come in, you're trying to prep the turns, you're trying to make sure that you're going to be safe when everything's coming in and beating your ass in, and you think where you're standing is fine, or you're like, maybe I'll move here, and you position one step backwards to thinking it's safe, and it's never safe because these guys have an extra move and a jump, and it's amazing how much extra damage we were taking because of it all.
Yeah.
But we do dispatch this room down. Meanwhile, Phil is still in the previous room finishing off the scouts. He does, and then he decides to open the other single door, which contains more pigs, scouts, herders, and a frost demon. Phil goes invis and starts to plan how all of this is going to plan out. Gaz marks stand on the other side to block the actual hallway. So I don't know which one of you guys blocked the hallway, which is standing next to the sea tiles, whatever.
Yeah, I moved over and did it.
Yeah, and the minute that happened,
I think it was only there was only a pig or maybe a herder there. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think by that stage, most of the shit had left. So it wasn't as effective, but it still killed something, and we needed to do it for the objective.
That's right. And then we got the next section of it, which was spawn 2 Chaos Demons at the Leaky Walls C.
Just before there was one other thing that happened. Because Phil opened that door and then went invisible, everything in that room activated. And they all just ran past him.
Yeah.
So we were kind of trying to fight off this frost demon, a couple of the piranha pigs. We went and dealt with the scout, but there was still like 2 or 3 monsters, and we were like, no, it was hard, but we're still dealing with that. And then Phil opens this other door, and you're like, okay, that's all right. He's like the protagonist, he's the hero, so he'll deal with that room. He's just like, I'm just gonna hide. And then everything just ran past him and started running towards us. And because they have +1 and jump, they had no issues getting to us. No. So it suddenly became like, okay, I think we're dealing with this. Great. Whoa, where the hell did this happen?
Yeah.
And we were making TD jokes around like, oh, Phil's leaking. Right. Like, the tower defenses are our health, and Phil's just funneled all these monsters towards us.
And now we have Chaos Demons.
Now, to his credit, in his defense, he then, Phil, proceeded to delete 3 of them. So it was like, it's not like he created a problem and didn't deal with it. No. He just did a thing and then dealt with it the next turn, which is very Phil-like.
Very. Announced next turn he will delete them, and then he proceeded to literally pick them off over and over again. It was great.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I was playing around with hazardous terrain, and I actually put an obstacle in this room. I think that pissed everyone off. I don't quite know why, but I think it was messing up positionings and all sorts of stuff. So yes, I've learned a lesson there. Don't just put obstacles around.
Nah, it's fine. Like, it was only annoying because I wanted to do a formation and I couldn't stand in the place I wanted to. Like that, but it wasn't like, oh no, that screwed us for the scenario. It's just like, I want to use this card. So,
once we take control of the situation, we clear up remaining mobs. Gaz and I open the last room. We have 2 frost demons and 3 chests. I take 2 of the chests. Gaz takes 1. We blow up the remaining frost demons, and Mark and Phil run around and collect the rest of the loots in the previous rooms. And that was it. Winra.
That was it. Yep.
Now, with everything eliminated, only the Fish King remains. But then something rumbles under us. But it's probably nothing. I think it might be the Leviathan God thing. I don't know. I'm very excited to see. What the next thing's gonna be. Rewards. We gain 10 gold each, and we have the new scenario, which is the Forceling scenario, but not really, lol. 77. What were your thoughts on scenario 75?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a cool way of doing a kill all. I like the idea of having the collapsible walls, but it not be to stop unlimited spawns. So it wasn't. I know it was an objective, but you didn't have to rush that objective. And if it had lined up well, right? Like again, if Phil had opened that door with enough movement, and he almost got to the second one, you can kill 3 things in one go. So it kind of again rewards you for potentially having a good turn or something like that. And yeah, I think it was cool. It's again important to put this in context of the scenario excluding the challenge cards. Right? Like I have to keep doing this and going like, well, hang on, everything doesn't have jump and +1 move and +1 range. And it's similar to what we did last week with the robot like hallway fight one that we did where we had to run to the end. And I kept going like, wow, that this whole everyone takes an extra damage every time someone takes damage lined up really well. Great designing, guys. Or wait, that wasn't your design. So yeah, it turns out giving all the monsters jump in a scenario where there's heaps of water is really good.
What do you think is going to happen when we run out of challenge cards?
We're going to read a section event.
Not so much that, but how does it impact the rest of our game? Like, because we're not going to have them anymore, right?
I kind of hope that they'll get reshuffled.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I'd like to think that you read the thing, you get a reward of some sort, and it better be fucking good, right? Like, I'm enjoying doing this, but there's like 45 cards in that deck. So, there's got to be a reward for pushing through like we have been.
Maybe we tell everyone in the Discord what our next scenario is and let them choose two challenge cards to add to it. Even though we've finished it and we've done the section event and they're not relevant anymore, the challenge cards, we get them, we bring them back in.
Once we're done?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if it's not put into it, yes. But yeah, I think it'd be interesting, right? Hey, we're going to do this scenario.
Do your worst.
Do your worst, yeah. I mean, again, we can toy around with that idea once we know what's going on, but it would be cool to draw 5, put them online and say, these are the random 5 we've drawn, community do your worst, right?
Yeah, I like that.
Like, that way there's more option and they can see what's there rather than picking from the whole deck. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but hopefully it doesn't just go away because again, I've said this before, but it's definitely making each scenario more spicy. And it's going to be cool talking about these experiences with people once we're kind of all done. And be like, oh, what about this scenario? And they're like, oh, that was super easy. And we're like, oh, everything.
How did you deal with everything jumping? They're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that's it. So, but no, this was another good scenario. That this quest,
I really like this one.
PQ quest chain thing has been just really well designed. I don't think this was the best scenario, and I'll probably forget about it, but it was fun to play.
That's fair.
So,
well, next one's a boss one, so better be absolutely amazing. Like it's gonna be, right?
I mean, this is the designers that have just almost absolutely nailed every single one of these scenarios in this quest chain. So hopefully they don't drop the bundle when it comes to the boss.
All right. Was this normie scenario?
No, because he just die on the water.
Characters die on the water. He doesn't.
Then yeah, because he'd never get to the other room.
But if he gets into the middle of the game where the pillars are, we're in the top room. Phil went invisible. The Chaos Demons come out. I reckon he's fucked.
Yeah, I don't know. I
actually wasn't sure.
I think it's fine because he would be so slow moving through that by the time he got to that room, we would have enough idea that he's coming to protect him, right? Like if he's standing in the middle of that room and we're in the other one, Phil doesn't open the door.
Yeah, okay.
Right? Like that's just it's like, hey, Orby, take this.
Yeah. Phil time
so
he does.
Yes, well. So I think this one's fine.
Okay. There was nothing crazy and community wise on this scenario that I could find. Just crab rulings. Battle goals, we had assassin kill an enemy before it takes its first turn. Was that you?
That was me. Failed.
Oh, did you try?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was like, there's eels.
You're level 9, right?
Well, yeah, I've still got one more perk to get, but it's garbage, so I don't care about it. But I kind of thought, I'm like, oh, I could open a door. Like there might be an eel. I could kill an eel because they've only got like 4 hit points or something like that.
Yeah, okay. Executioner, kill an undamaged enemy with a single attack action. That was me, and I did that later on in the scenario and then happily announced it to everyone. Rambler, end no more than 3 of your turns in the same hex in which you started the turn, except when long resting. I have no idea who had that.
Phil, I guess.
But Phil stayed in the same spot a couple of times when he was invisible, did he? I don't know.
We didn't hear. Yeah, but he doesn't care. He's not trying to do that.
Oh, that's a good point. And Ritualist, kill an enemy while 3 or more elements are strong or waning. I want to say that's Mark because he always picks it.
Well, we didn't hear about it. Like, I feel like, yeah, I don't know. That's interesting.
All right, DPS. Mark had 33 damage done. He took 58, so that was good. Good work, Mark. And 32 healing. He's
considering he drew null on his first 2 attacks, and they were supposed to be decent attacks. Yeah. Like 30 odd damage is pretty good.
Yeah, well, I think he drew a null later on as well. I think he drew altogether 3 nulls in this whole scenario. So yes, I think he did fine. But I'm noticing that his 3 columns are always quite like they all have numbers in it. He's not like missing one. Phil did 101 damage, which is very Phil. 24 damage taken with 20 healing. Gaz finished on 53. 31 taken, 32 healing. Some very similar numbers there with you. I had 85 damage done. I took 43. I don't remember why or how. That seems oddly high. And then I healed for 18. That doesn't look right. Okay. My health is only 11, so I don't quite understand how I took 43. But sure.
I don't know.
And Outpost phase we have not done because we are saving that for the start of the next.
Yeah, that's right. It was late. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. That was good. I enjoyed that.
Yes. Now, I know what some of you might be wondering. Like, guys, haven't you glossed over something really major and really important that happened? And
something that somebody and the community has been waiting for a while for.
Yeah. Yes. This was intentional because, we're just trolling. We're just trolling you guys. But a lot of you have asked about this, and we figured tonight was going to be the night that we've all been waiting for months and months, and it's finally happened. Finally. After so long, we have unlocked a new character.
Yep. So excited about this one.
And someone has been waiting for this character for so long.
Yep. So long.
Unfortunately, they can't play it yet. So we can't open it or discuss it, which is super frustrating.
Yep.
But amDirt rules, right?
That's it.
We finally unlocked. Gaz, can you announce it?
The drill.
The drill. So, super exciting. Phil's been waiting for the drill for ages. We finally got to having it.
I think since before the Blink Blade, like when he was going to be retired. No, it was before the meteor. He was retiring his Deathwalker, and I think we had the meteor there, and he was looking through the different thingies, and I think he they'd seen the drill box and that kind of stuff, and it was something that he kind of called out because we've all kind of looked at pictures or icons and be like, oh, that looks cool, I want to play that, right? And so he wanted to do that ages ago, which is cool. So he's been looking forward to it. So yeah, it's awesome that we've been able to unlock that for him. It's perfect timing.
That's right. And like, if you don't know how the drill is unlocked or anything along those lines, like just turn your ears off or something, or you don't want to hear any of this. As a lot of people know, we've had the puzzle book for ages. Gaz and I have barely talked about it because we barely touch it. We don't touch it in really any capacity. I mostly update our group in our kind of like private chat in our Discord with images from the pages. And it's kind of Mark and Phil who are mostly the ones that are going through the puzzle book. And this is the reason why on our pod we barely talk about the puzzle book, because we don't really know how to communicate how its progress in the way it probably deserves.
Yeah. And it's tricky because if we suddenly talk about it after we've done a certain scenario, then people will know. It's like a spoiler, right? Like, oh, hey, we did X scenario. And by the way, now we've got this cool clue and we solved this next page on the puzzle book. if people are trying to work through it at their own pace, and the puzzle book is like this own separate spoiler thing, that's just going to give it away. They're going to be like, oh, well, we know if we get stuck, we need to do that scenario. So it's been a really interesting conversation about how we actually talk about it.
Yeah.
We've just opted not to really.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and we're not actively solving them. You and I aren't actually actively solving them. Mark's been working out most of it. He shouts a number at me. I check if he's right. Most times he's wrong. But he goes back and he's so keen on doing it. So, he tweaks the numbers and then he comes back with a different number, and I'll update the chat with a new section if we get there. It's hard to communicate all of this progress, and I can safely say that I believe we're stuck on page 10 and 11, which Mark boldly proclaimed, "Well, this can fuck off," when he got to it. So that's kind of where we're stuck at the moment. Everything else we've kind of done. Now, we totally forgot about the start of the book. There was actually a section, a coded section that we actually hadn't solved yet, and we'd completely forgotten about it. So Phil actually went back and realized that he had a cipher from Gloomhaven First Edition, which he thought, why not? I'll see if it works for Frosthaven. Scribbled a bunch of things down. I remember, he's got a big working out sheet, which is actually makes no sense to me at all. And it led to a section that then unlocked the drill. So this is perfect. It lines up perfectly for Phil's retirement, which he will do very soon on his Blink Blade once we down the Fish King, which is probably next. And then, when it comes to probably talking about the puzzle book and the content, I'll organize a day with Mark and maybe you guys, and we can actually go through all of Mark's working out, and he can actually explain to us how he solved each, area. Because I'd be fascinated to know. He's a very clever guy. Puzzles are his jam. He loves this sort of stuff. He doesn't want help with any of it. And I think that we can put together our own puzzle piece of video content, sort of capturing all of that.
Yep.
Yeah. So page 10 and 11 is where we're up to if you're curious. Mark is stumped for now. And now that we've finished 2 out of the 3 quest lines, we'll start working out where to search next. All right.
That's it. So, it's cool. It's very exciting. Really looking forward to doing unboxing. Love doing unboxings. Even characters I'm not playing, I really enjoy looking at the design, like kind of how they work, all that stuff. Not so much just about how because I want to know what they're doing in the game, but I just love kind of exploring that space, the looking at the combos and looking at the cards and how it's been designed, because I think so far in Frosthaven, all the characters have been so different, and really kind of had their own little gimmick that I think it's worked really well. That it's really, really kind of kudos to the designers to make them all feel really different. So it's cool going we've still got 5 more to unlock. What are they going to do? How do they keep being different, right? They can't keep being good, surely, but maybe they can.
Yeah. We'll do an unboxing for the drill probably next week. Once he's retired and taken the box home, and then we'll take it from there. Very excited that we finally get to see something fresh, and eagerly anticipated and new. So can't wait.
Yeah, and we know everyone's been waiting for more character unlocks as well, so we're glad we're able to announce the drill, and it's going to be a fun addition to our little party.
So we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for joining us on another episode of A Master's Degree in Rolling Terribly. We'll be back next week where we will go fishing. Until then, by the way, we unlocked the prism. I've been Daddy, joined by Gaz.
And remember, when it comes to misdirection, it's all in the wrist.